Right, so it's a 4D framework with design thinking, agile, and it's bolstered by some lean practices as well. Discover is where we're going to take a step back. We're going to look at the customer, truly understand. We understand who they are, what their pain points are, and then we're going to hypothesize about the solutions before we jump into actual solutions. Then we're going to go through define, where we're going to look at the product strategy. We're going to set some goals. We can put some measurements in place, and we're going to create a product backlog, and we're going to look at good practices for a roadmap. Develop is where we're going to take it into the traditional or the usual or well-known agile frameworks. I'm going to do something slightly different there with you all. There's so much information out there in learning about agile frameworks. I'm not going to go through that, but instead, I'm going to give you a different way or a way to think about which one of these frameworks, given in your context, is the best one to lean into. And then we're going to go into deliver, which is where you think about release-based practices, launching, and what is all the techniques that you can put in place, as well as the AI tooling that is available across all of these. So discover, like I said, the customer, their pain points, and their possible solutions. In this space, the typical techniques that you will get is interviews, surveys, analytics, focus groups. Now, while we're not going to do that, we're going to pick point like the persona, for example. We're going to go into detail about that. We're going to show you some prioritization techniques, the RICE, Moscow Valley Impact. I prefer the more simple ones. I've spent a lot of time in companies where we design very complex prioritization models, only to find that at the end of the day, it's still going to have to be a bunch of people to make a decision because the model provides a data point for you, but you still need to make the decision as a whole. So typical artifacts. My favorite there is the jobs to be done framework, because that creates a very clear tie into the defined piece where we can now create capabilities to enable that customer, that persona, to do that job. Solution discovery, again, taking that step back. We're not at the point where we're building a product yet. We're still giving ourselves some space where we can create a hypothesis around what we think will solve that problem. Typical techniques here, one of my favorites is the journey mapping, mind mapping, and then stakeholder mapping, which also ensures that before you go into your defined stage, you know everybody in your ecosystem, not just the customer, but within your own development space.